그 마인드 마이너시죠. 디지털 시대 사람들의 마음을 이렇게 해내시는 송기령 작가님.
교수님 책을 보면서 인류사에서 우리가 현재 어떤 변화를 겪고 있는지를 좀 다시 돌아볼 수 있게 되었는데요. 지난번은 세 권의 책에서 계속해서 느꼈던 감정과 이번 넥서스에서 느꼈던 감정은 조금 달랐어요. 왜 그러냐면 우리는 분열도 하고 결합도 하고 다시 소멸도 하고 인류사에서 우리가 현재 어떤 변화를 겪고 있는지를 좀 알게 되었던 것이죠. 그래서 느낌이 이번 넥서스 책은 좀 슬펐어요. 교수님도 이 책을 쓰시면서 그럼 슬픔이라는 감정을 느끼셨는지 좀 궁금합니다.
In writing? Some chapters, yes, because some chapters are about both very sad events in the past and potentially sad developments in the future. I know that it seems to many people that I only focus on the negative side of AI or of other developments, but this is because I too am part of a conversation, a global conversation about AI. You have the business leaders, the CEOs of the big companies, the entrepreneurs who develop the technology, and they naturally focus mostly on the positive side. They want to impress their investors to get investments. They want to impress the public. So they constantly talk about all the wonderful things that technology can do for us. And I agree, there are many wonderful things that AI can do for us. But, and this is of course a very dangerous development,
will attempt to assassinate Elizabeth, Queen of the Royal Family.
it becomes my job as a historian, as a philosopher, to also point out the dangers in order just to balance the view. Ultimately, if this was the only book in the world about AI, then I would have half of it about the positive potential and half of it about the negative potential. But because this is part of an ongoing conversation, and we already hear so much about the positive potential, and it's convincing, you have trillions of dollars now being invested in AI because people believe in all the positive potential. This is why it's important for scholars like me to dedicate more time to warn people, wait a minute, there are some also dangers ahead.
인류 문명의 균형을 잡는 일을 적정한 시점에 해주고 싶다는 생각을 하셨던 것 같아요. 저는 그 교수님의 전체의 통찰이 역사를 관통해서 나오는 것들이 굉장히 감탄을 했는데요. 저도 역시 역사를 보는데 자연스럽게 누군가한테는 미래가 먼저 오는 게 좀 보이고요. 누군가한테 좀 늦게 오는 게 보입니다. 어떤 분들은 짓궂게 디지털 포춘텔러라고 이렇게 얘기하시는 경우도 있어요. 그래서 조심스럽게 그분들은 이제 미래를 알려주세요. 막 이런 얘기를 한단 말이죠. 교수님께도 그런 얘기를 엄청 할 것 같아요. 그때 어떤 느낌을 가지신지가 굉장히 궁금했습니다.
Some people expect me kind of to prophesy the future, and I keep telling them I can't, because the future is just not determined. And I don't really engage in predictions or prophecies. I don't know what will happen in 10 or 20 years. I can draw a map of different roads, different scenarios. Which road we take, this is our decision. I don't know what people will decide in the next year or next 5 years. So it's not about prediction, it's about encouraging people to make a wise decision, which is based on a proper understanding of what is happening. Even if you understand, like you invent some new technology, you can know certain things about how this technology will change the world, but ultimately it's a human decision how to use it. At least this is how it was in the past. If you look, say, at the 20th century, so let's say that this is now the year 1900. People now inventing steam engines and trains. and electricity and radio. And people ask, what will the future look like? You can use the same technology to create a liberal democracy with more freedom than in any previous time in history. It's a human choice. In the second half of the 20th century, you look at North Korea and South Korea. They used exactly the same technology to create completely different political systems and social systems. So just knowing the technology doesn't tell you whether the society will be like North Korea or like South Korea. It's the same today with AI, with one exception. Now the choice is not only in human hands, it's also in the hands of the technology.
지금 굉장히 빠르게 바뀌고 있고 그만큼의 새로운 인풋에 대해서 이해가 힘들어지기 때문에 벌어진 일인 것 같아요. 결국 새로운 정보, 새로운 기술에 대한 이해가 필요한 그런 세상에 오기 시작한 건데요. 교수님께서는 어떤 현상에 대한 부분들을 본인의 연구와 또 저술에 가장 많이 집중해서 바라보시는 중이세요?
Now I focus on the way that power is shifting already from humans to algorithms. I look, for instance, at what the Trump administration is doing in the US. Trump and Elon Musk, they say, oh, we are against bureaucracy, we are trying to eliminate the bureaucracy. So they are closing different agencies, they are firing tens of thousands of human officials, but they are giving the power to algorithms. There are still bureaucrats, it's just the bureaucrats are no longer humans. The new bureaucrats are AIs. People can understand even much less than human bureaucrats and are controlled by the big corporations and by the tech tycoons like Elon Musk. You see the same thing happening in militaries. Like I observe the wars, like the recent war between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. Selecting the targets for bombing, which buildings to bomb, which people to kill. Previously, this was done only by human beings. Intelligence officer going over all the information, deciding what to bomb. Now in this war, increasingly it's AIs that decide which buildings to bomb, which people to kill. You see the same thing happening in finance. You know, all this talk about cryptocurrencies. When I look at the cryptocurrency trend, what I see is that humans lose trust in other humans, and instead they have more trust in the AIs. Because most cryptocurrencies, they are based on the idea we don't want to trust the old currencies like dollar or won or yen, because these are made by human institutions like banks and governments, and we don't trust. Maybe in a few years, all control in finance is in the hands of AIs, and humans no longer understand. Like if there is a financial crisis, there is not a single human being who understands why there is a financial crisis and what to do about it. So the control is in the hands of the AI, and this is of course a very dangerous development.